Hello everybody and welcome to the channel Out of Ammo, Out of Time. I'm your host as always, Krabby Terror 8, and here we are in part 16 of Season 2 of the Investigator Games with everybody's favourite actress, Lola Hayes. Yes, and for those of you who are new to the channel, I welcome you heartily. Thank you very much for being here and watching. Now, for those of you who are new, what is the Investigator Games? It's like the Hunger Games. In this case, though, we take each investigator true solo through a scenario in Arkham Horror, the card game, and Season 1 was The Gathering. And there are 34 odd videos for that, and Season 2 is here in the Midnight Masks, and depending on how they do, they end up in a league table like this one. Yes, now I'm just looking at the league table here because sometimes I forget to bring it up, but as we can see, the points here are the carryover points from the Gathering into the Midnight Masks. We can see William Yorick there highlighted. He was last week and did pretty well. He only managed 3 cultists, but he ended up with 12 points. So we can see that they are ranked from the best performing down to the worst performing. So Roland Banks did blisteringly well and was first off the mark, managed to get 5 cultists by turn 13, did really, really well. Ash Campete also doing pretty well. And then all the way down the bottom, we have poor old Jim Culver and Daisy Walker. Jim didn't manage any cultists, and Daisy and Rex only managed 1 apiece. So quite a range of results, as we would expect from Midnight Masks, because it really is quite a challenging scenario. A fun scenario, but quite challenging. Now, spoilers, if you haven't played Arkham Horror, the card game before, or you have not played the Midnight Mask before, I would recommend that you play them first. I'm assuming you know how to play, at least in some sort of basic way. So I'm not going to go ahead and be talking about the sort of basics of the gameplay, so I would very much recommend you do that. There are lots and lots of awesome introductions to this game on YouTube, and I would heartily recommend that you view those first. So yes, here we are with Lola Hayes, the actress. She's quite a challenging and very unique investigator to play. I don't see her being played very much because she's quite a challenge. I don't think she's the kind of investigator that an introductory player would play. I've played quite a lot, and I find her very challenging. I think in the first series, in the first season, I found her quite challenging, so much so that I forgot that I was running around with three cards in with only 2 hand slots at one point. She is quite a challenge, and we'll explain why. So the first thing you notice about Lola, of course, is that she's a average 3-3-3-3-3 across everything. And then she has this really unique ability, which is that you draw your opening hand, you choose a role for that opening hand, and I should say, just as a preface to that, she can hold any cards, Survivor, Guardian, Seeker, Rogue, and Mystic level 0 to 3. So she really does, but you have to, your deck must include at least 7 cards from each of the 3 different classes. So she really can play anything here. You can only play, commit, or trigger abilities. That's important. Play, commit, or trigger abilities on neutral cards or cards of your role. So if you're in Guardian role and you want to use Lucky, you can't, basically. So it takes a lot of planning and foresight to work out what you're doing. And of course, limits that, I go, awesome, I'm just going to take a smattering of a whole bunch of cards, because it does make that quite challenging. Now, once per round, you can switch your role as a fast action, but that means you still have to think about it, because you're in one role and then you want to switch to another role, but you can't then switch again unless, of course, you get the Elder Sign effect. Now, the Elder Sign effect gives you a nice hefty +2, and you can also switch roles at the same time. So quite a lot of challenging management and thinking about ahead of the future. Now you'll notice I have this great big neutral token on the right hand side, because one of the things about Lola is you've got to keep track of what role you're in. So I will be using that to keep track of which role I'm in, and leave the little ones as neutral. That will help me remember. I'm expecting I am going to make mistakes in this one though, because I often make mistakes, let's face it. But I think this will be quite challenging. Perhaps this would be her big comeback. She also has a very sort of average neutrally 6 health and 6 mental agility. She did take a mental trauma in the first season. She didn't defeat the Ghoul Priest, so he is in the deck, and she doesn't have Lita, so a little bit there. She only managed 4 victory points in the last one. So actually, if we move over and look at what I've done with those 4 victory points, not a lot I could do with only 4. Now, the only other point I should make is that everybody starts with their official Fantasy Flight Games starter deck, and Lola's had a whole smattering of stuff, Seeker, Survivor, and Guardian cards in it. Now, what I've done is, with the 4, I've really just tried to improve things, because the Midnight Masks, of course, is all about getting clues. Not only clues to then get cultists, but equally clues to get victory points, which is what the Investigator Games are all about. So I've really lent into that. So what I've done here is I've got 2 machetes, and I took out the 45 automatic, mainly because the 45 automatic is expensive and it's limited, whereas the machetes, and yes, I'm not playing Taboo here, it's hard enough playing the starter decks without getting into Taboo shenanigans. 2 machetes. I also have 2 Malign Christophers. I took out the Stray Cat, so took out the 45 and put in a machete. Added in Malign Christopher and took out the Stray Cat, mainly because the only really person I'd want to be evading is the Masked Hunter, and he's elite, so Stray Cat isn't going to help with that. I suppose the Stray Cat could help with a Hunting Night Gaunt, I guess, but I'd rather lean into clue getting and fighting in that way. We've got a First Aid, we've got a True Grit. I added in a Look What I Found and took out a Barricade, and I also added in another Lucky, and I took out a Hiding Spot. If I'd had more XP, I probably would have given myself another Vicious Blow, perhaps another Deduction, perhaps, things like that. But unfortunately, I only had 4 XP to work with. So, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think I did all right there? Any thoughts about how I might have done things differently? I am thinking specifically about the Midnight Masks here, and I don't want to be in a position where I can't get clues. That's particularly key. Our weakness that we drew was Hypochondria, and so that's in the deck as well. That was in the previous season. So there we go. That's Lola. We'll see how we go. My expectations, I have to say, are low, because she really is very challenging to play. Fun to play, but challenging to play at the same time. So we will see how we will go with good old Lola. Okay, so let's go back here. So here we are with our 5 resources and our 1 mental trauma. We have, of course, 40 cards, because things like that. Now, I think we draw the hand and then we decide, after you draw your hand, choose a roll. So it's just on neutral at the moment. If we just go up to here, I've already randomly chosen Southside and Downtown, so God knows, hopefully we'll get Mars Boarding House, because that would be good. We're waiting here, of course, at the house, as we usually are. Lola is patiently waiting for the crowds to line the streets of Arkham so that she can get going. Yeah, up here, the usual things. We have shuffled up the... I'll do it again, though. Shuffle up the encounter deck, shuffle up the cultist deck. The Ghoul Priest is in the encounter deck as well. We're playing on standard difficulty, turn 1, no doom. So let's read out the agenda and the actor deck, and then we can get going. Predator or prey, Lita seems convinced of a conspiracy within the city of Arkham. She believes that a secret cult serves the ghouls that live in the crypts beneath the city, and that several of the cult's prominent members are scattered throughout Arkham. As you begin searching for them, you can't shake the feeling that you too are being hunted. Action: resign. You don't want to risk taking too long, so you head to safety with the information you gathered. Let's just resign now. Nope. I wonder if anyone ever does that. Why would you? I guess if you were overwhelmed, maybe. I don't know. And uncovering the conspiracy, you have one night to find the members of this cult and unveil their plan. The more members of the cult you can find and interrogate before midnight, the better. Investigators spend 2 clues per investigator as a group. Draw the top card of the cultist deck. Objective: find as many unique cultist enemies as you can and add them to the victory display. If there are 6 unique cultist enemies in the victory display, that'd be nice. Advance. Note, not all 6 of them are in the cultist deck. I wonder if anybody solo has ever gotten all 6. I guess it's possible, but man. Okay, so that's the agenda in the act deck. We are all ready to go. All we've got to do now is patiently wait. Oh, there it is, and the crowd goes wild, and we are ready to go in the Investigator Games with Lola Hayes. She bows and waves to the crowd. What a beautiful dress she is wearing. My goodness, she's but she has a chest, I think, which is full of different clothing, and I think she's going to change into different clothing as the roles come about. So it's going to be a very unusual scene there in Arkham. And I need a cup of coffee. Coffee. Right. So let's draw our cards. What do we want? Malign Christopher. We want Malign Christopher. That's going to boost. That's going to give us a static, passive, whatever it's called, boost to give us 4 intellect. And of course, it gives us nice resource generation as well. Beat Cop would also be kind of okay, but really it's Malign Christopher that we want, and we've got 2 of them in the deck. Yes, a weapon would be good. That would also be very nice because, we need to take on some acolytes and various other people, so having some kind of weapon would be very handy. Other than that, it would be good to get something like a machete. Yeah, the machete vicious blow would be good in preparation for the Masked Hunter. I think it's hard to know other than that. Maybe look what I found, and we can go and get the clues from Miskatonic University, something like that. Anyway, let's see what we get. And we draw... Well, as usual, most times we don't draw exactly what we want here. Now we don't have Malign Christopher at all, which is a real bugger. So I'm going to be quite hardcore here about what we're going to keep and what we're going to move out. In fact, the only thing I'm going to keep is magnifying glass, and I'm going to draw another 4. Normally I would keep things like lucky, but I really want to get Malign Christopher. So let's draw another 4. Ah, boy, it's going to be one of those games, isn't it? Oh, boy, okay. No Malign Christopher. Okay. So what have we got here? We've got a magnifying glass. That's something. True Grit. Okay, so that's just a soak for health. Improvisation. So this is one of her special abilities. Fast play during your turn. Switch your role until the end of your turn. Reduce the resource cost of the next card you play by 3 and draw a card. So that's not too bad. And it's a double pip. And then we got 2 weapons. We got a knife and another knife. So at least we've got a knife. And then, of course, if we get a crypt chill, we've got another knife in hand. So it's not the best start, but it's better than a kick in the pants. So what are we going to start with? Well, yes, probably I'm thinking with this, we'll probably start our roll with a Seeker. So we'll start our roll with Seeker. Now, once per Once per round, we can change the role, but I think that's probably where we want to start. Okay, so what are we going to do? First action. First action, let's spend 1, bring out the knife. Main reason is I want to be able to fight things if we need to, so that's the first action. Second action, we're going to avail ourselves of the facilities at the house and take a resource and draw a card. Okay, so we get another improvisation. Okay, so that's helpful, but we don't need to use them just at the moment. And for our third action, let's go ahead and investigate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fast play the magnifying glass, and we get a +1 while investigating. So that gives us a 4. So we are going to investigate. So we are a 4 versus, is it a 2? I always forget now. Yes, it's a 2. So it's a 4 versus a 2, -2 or better. Chaos bag gives us a, I think that's a -2. I think it's fine because it's like -2, place 1 doom on the nearest cultist enemy. There are, of course, no cultist enemies, so we get a bit of a hospital pass there. So we get the first clue. Here we go. Okay, not too bad, not too bad. So there we go. There's the first. There's our first turn for Lola. So after a pretty disappointing draw, we brought out the knife so we can fight. We then availed ourselves, got ourselves a resource and drew a card. And then finally, we drew the we played the magnifying glass fast, and we successfully got the first clue. So far so good. That's kind of fairly good. So I think what we might use this again to draw again. I want to really want to get Blind Christopher, and then I think we move up to Rivertown. So we've got a choice here. We could do it again. We could move straight to Rivertown, get the clue, and get the first cultist out. Depends what we draw in the upkeep phase, whether we get an ally. Because the other thing is, maybe, actually, I'm not going to hang around. I'm going to get to Rivertown, get the first cultist out, then I can go to Southside, and hopefully it's Mars Boarding House. And we can do that. So there we go. That's the end of the investigation phase. So we move into the enemy phase. There are, of course, no enemies to speak of. So we move into upkeep. We'll flip these over. We might as well stay in the role we're at the moment. There's no need to change. We get a resource, and we draw a card, and we draw into the leather coat. Yes, we've got True Grit and the leather coat. So we've got quite a lot of ways to absorb physical damage, but not mental. But that's not really what we want. We really want an ally. So I think I'm going to really need to get myself to Southside, and hopefully we pull Mars Boarding House, but we don't know because it's a random, and we'll end up with the Historical Society, but we will see how we go. So that's the end of the upkeep phase. So we will move into the Mythos phase, and we will shift up to up here. So we're in turn 2. We get 1 doom down. Let's just shuffle this up again. I know I've already done it, but we'll do it again. And let's see. Boy. There we go. Let's see what the good old encounter deck has for us. And we're starting with Locked Door. Locked Door, location with the most clues. Well, I think there are no clues. No, there are no clues. So what we'll do is we'll just put it under here. We don't need it. There we go. That's a fairly good start. Nothing much happening. Great. So we will move into the investigation phase. I don't see any reason to shift because we're going to get this other clue. So I don't see any reason to shift into Guardian or into Survivor mode at the moment. Really isn't any point. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to move to Rivertown. because time is of the essence in the Investigator Games. You don't really have, in the Midnight Mass, you really don't have time to mess around. So here we are. It's a one shroud location, as we know. Then we'll investigate using the old magnifying glass again. So we are a 4 versus a 1, -3 or better. Oh boy. Let's try it again. Yes. Okay. So we get the second clue. All right. Okay. All right. There we go. So, okay. So that's the end of our second turn. So we moved into Rivertown. We tried to investigate and failed miserably. And then we investigated again and we succeeded. So next time we can get out the first cultist. We will move down to Southside and hopefully we can get ourselves an ally. Unless we're lucky, of course, to get Milan Christopher in the next draw on upkeep. But we shall see. Okay, so that's the end of the investigation phase. There are no enemies or enemas, the enemas phase, to speak of. So we will move into upkeep. 6 resources. We'll draw another card and we draw into Look What I Found. That's a good card. So I think what we'll probably do is go to Southside, see if we can get an ally, and then pop up to Miskatonic University and look to get the victory point there using Look What I Found. I think that's the plan, at least at the moment. Okay, so that's the end of the upkeep phase. So far, so good. Let's move into the next Mythos phase. So let's shift up to here. So we're now in turn 3. There are now 2 Doom on the table. Let's see what the lovely encounter deck has for us. And it has, yes, an Acolyte. Well, let's... I think we stick the Acolyte here in Southside because we're going to go there anyway. We don't want too much Doom too quickly. So let's put a Doom on the old Acolyte. There we go. So we will look to defeat the Acolyte this time. Okay, there we go. Yes, no machete, no allies. Okay, so we will move. I mean, the one thing without having machetes and allies is we're not having to change roles, I suppose. But anyway, so we'll move into the investigation phase. So I think our main focus here is probably to get rid of that Acolyte. The other thing is we could throw in the clues. We could move and then fight, couldn't we? Throw in the clues, move and fight. That would be 3 actions, wouldn't it? So maybe we should do that first, just see which. So let's do that first. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to throw in the clues and see who we get. So let's shuffle up the cultist deck again. And the first cultist is Peter Warren. I had kind of a feeling we might get Peter Warren when I said Miskatonic University. There you go. So Peter Warren is at Miskatonic University. Spend 2 clues. Parley, add Peter Warren to the victory display. So he's fairly easy to deal with. So, and I think Look is a fast play. Look What I Found is a fast play. Oh, a skill test. So what might do is get the clues and then go and get Peter. Something like that. That probably seems like the best thing to do. So then we will move to Southside and we get Mars Boarding House. Oh, that's great. Fantastic. So we can search your deck for an ally, put it into your hand and shuffle the deck. That's brilliant. So we will move the Acolyte here. Oops. Oh, come on. There we go. So that was our second action. So for our third action, we will go ahead and fight. So we are a 3, but we can make that a 4. So a 4 versus a 3. Now there's one doom, so skulls are a -1. So it's whether we put in the other knife or do we put in one of these improvisations. I might put in one. Do we use it for this? You see, the problem is if we use the knife, then we've got to bring out another knife, and then we might get crypt chill. So what I might do is I might use one of these improvisations. So that gives us a 3, 4, 6 versus a 3. So a -3 or better to fight. And we get a -2. I'm glad we did that. So we succeed. We get rid of the acolyte. Fantastic. Okay, so that was a reasonably successful round. We've brought out Peter Warren. We then moved to Southside, and it is Mars Boarding House. So next time, and then we defeated the acolyte and took the doom out off the table. So what we're going to do next time is obviously we'll get this clue. We will get ourselves an ally, and then the turn after that, we'll probably then have to get the 2 clues through St Mary's Hospital to then go and deal with Peter Warren. That's probably the plan. So there we go. That's so far so good. Things are going okay. A bit slowly, but okay. All right, so we move into the enemy phase. Peter Warren doesn't do anything, so we move into upkeep. We've got lots of resources. Let's draw a card. And we draw into No Stone Unturned. Let me just flip these over. Choose an investigator at your location. That investigator searches top discusses her deck, draws it and shuffles. Okay, that's actually quite a good card to play as well, because I wouldn't mind getting the machete as well. And I'm wondering whether, because we got Look What I Found, are we better off with Peter Warren? Whether we're better off actually with the Beat Cop to give us extra fight. Because if we can get the machete in the Beat Cop, that will give us a 3, 4, 5. Will be a 5 fight, which might be what we need, particularly for the Masked Hunter. And we don't need extra resources. We've got a ton of those. So, yeah, maybe that's the way to go. Okay. Anyway, that's food for thought, but interesting. Okay. So let's move into the next Mythos phase. Let's pop up to the Mythos phase area. So we're already in turn 4. There are now 3 Doom Downs, so we're halfway through. Let's see what the encounter deck has. And of course, it's got Crypt Chill. Yes. Test 4. Okay. So now we could commit cards to keep the knife. To be honest, I'm not too worried if we lose the knife at the moment. So what I might do is, whilst I could commit a ton of resources to pass this, I'm just going to go with what I've got. So it's a 3 versus a 4, and of course we fail. So we lose the knife. I mean, we use the knife, that's fine. I'm okay with that, because I'm hoping with No Stone Unturned and things, we can get ourselves the machete. Hoping. Okay, so that's the end of the Mythos phase. So we move into the investigation phase. We will stick with no need to change roles at the moment. So a couple of things. First thing I'm going to do is avail myself of the facilities here. I'm going to search for an ally asset, add it to your hand, and shuffle your deck. Now, I'm thinking, because we're already at a 4, I'm thinking, and we've got lots of resources, so I'm actually going to go for the Beat Cop rather than Milan Christopher, because I feel like that's what we need most. So let's find, look, 2 Milan Christophers in a row next. Can you believe it? Oh, there he is. Jeez. Okay. So we'll put him into our hand. Close the deck. Flip that over. There we go. Shuffle up the deck. So there's 2 Milan Christophers in a row coming. There we go. So that was our first action. Our second action, we are actually going to play that. So we'll bring out the Beat Cop. Very nice. That's great. And then for our final action, let's go ahead and investigate. So for our final action, we will go ahead and investigate. Now we are a 4 versus a 2. 4 versus a 2. -2 or better. Let's go ahead and do that. -2 or better, and we failed. Okay. Actually, could I have played the beat cop? You hold on. You cannot play commit, switch your role, or commit. Okay. All right. Let me just wind up. See, this is the problem with Lola. Okay. So what I would have done is I would have used my fast action to change to Guardian. And I would have played the beat cop. Now it says here you cannot play, commit, or trigger abilities, but the magnifying glass is already on the table. There's no triggered ability. It's just you get a passive boost. So that was fine to use that. I was just investigating as a 4, but I failed anyway. So we are now in Guardian mode for the beat cop because we needed to change. So, whew, okay. Just got to remember that. Okay, so that was the end of our go. So it was a mixed bag. We managed to get the beat cop. We then tried to, we got the beat cop for using the special ability at Mars Boarding House. We then played the beat cop, and then we tried to investigate, and we failed. So that's the end of our go. So next go, we will try and get this clue again, and I think try and get the next clue. I'm aware we don't have a machete or a knife out, so I am kind of playing without any kind of anything like that. So we are going to have to address that as well. But it would be really great to get Peter Warren done and dusted as soon as possible. So let's move into the enemy phase. There are no enemies to speak of except for Peter Warren at the moment. So that's fine. So we will move into upkeep. We get another resource. We draw a card and we draw into lucky. Good card. Except we need to be in survivor mode to do that. But that's a nice card to have up our sleeve. Let's just flip these over. Yep. Okay, let's move up to here. So we're now in turn 5. There are 4 doom down. Time is moving on. Let's see what the good old encounter deck has. And the encounter deck has Obscuring Fog. Oh, that's a bugger. Because that, boy, attached to your location, +2. So that makes it a 4 shroud location. That is really, really annoying. Oh, boy. Okay. So now it's a 4 shroud location. That makes it much harder to investigate. Okay. All right, so that was the mythos phase. So we move into the investigation phase, 3 actions. So what are we going to do here? We're in Guardian mode. Really need these clues. The other thing is we could move up to Miskatonic University, take an attack of opportunity to play Look What I Found, because it's a 4 and we're a 4. And then we could then get Peter Warren, and then that just saves us a whole lot of messing around. Yeah, I don't want to mess around. I think it's worth taking that. So I'm going to do this because I need to get ready for the Mars Hunter as well. I still don't have a machete. So I'm going to move up to Miskatonic University. We'll flip Miskatonic University. We will... Peter Warren engages with us. So that was our first action. We're going to switch roles now, and we are going to switch to Survivor. Which we can do once per phase. I am going to next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to investigate. Which means I take an attack of opportunity. We are a 4 and it's a 4. So I'm hoping we fail by 2. Here we go. Chaos bag gives us a -2. So let me think about this. So we're a 4 -2, 2 versus 4. So we did fail by 2, which means we can spend 2 and bring out look what I found. Discover 2 clues at your location. So that's the 2 clues. That means that we get our first victory. Oh, there goes the crowd going wild. Fantastic. We get those 2 clues. Fantastic. And then for our third action, we will, is it 1 clue or 2 clues? Spend 2 clues. We will spend the 2 clues and we will put Peter Warren in the victory display. Crowd goes wild again. Fantastic. Woo! Okay, so that was a very, very successful round. I think I did everything right there. So we really, really, really lent into that. It was a risky maneuver, but it did work out. So we moved to Miskatonic University, which means Peter Warren was engaged with us. That was our first action. Our second action is we investigated 4 on 4. And just to be clear, we can use the passive skill boost. We're not triggering anything. We're not playing anything, or anything like that. So what we did was we moved to Survivor. We did a fast move to Survivor mode. We then failed by 2. So we played Look What I Found. We got the 2 clues. And then we spent those 2 clues to put Peter Warren in the victory display. So there we go. Not a bad round at all. So next time we've got to either bring out the knife or find the machete. So that's going to be the thing that we're going to need to do. So we're going to have to do a bit of shenanigans to do that, but I think we can do it with no stone unturned. Hopefully we can find ourselves a machete, but that's for us to worry about next time. So we move into the enemy phase. There are no enemies to speak of, so we move into upkeep. We get another resource and we draw a card and we draw into deduction. Nice card to get, of course, if we can get an additional clue, so that's great. Maybe for Northside we can use that, but nice card, but I really, really, really want the machete. So anyway, let's move. Oh, let me just flip these over. Flip. We're still in Survivor mode. Let's pop up to the here. We're now in turn 6. There are 5 doom. This will be flipping, and the Masked Hunter will be upon us. But before then, we also get a false lead. If there are no clues, false lead gains surge. I don't have any clues, so it gets surge. Surge is in the house, and we get a bloody acolyte. But actually, I've just realised that's fine. That actually doesn't matter. Let's stick the acolyte in here because it's going to flip anyway. So it was a good time to get the acolyte. Let's put a doom on it. No big deal. Okay, fantastic. We've been really, really lucky with the draws in the encounter deck so far, he says. Okay. Let's move into the investigation phase. Okay. So let's think about this now. This is yes. So So we've got to prepare ourselves for the coming of the masked hunter. So we need a weapon. We need the machete, ideally. So what I'm going to do first, my first action will be to convert to Seeker. So let's convert ourselves to Seeker. Second action will be to spend 2 and play No Stone Unturned, which allows us search the top 6 cards of the deck, draw it, and shuffle the deck. So let's, well, it's deductions here, so hopefully they will, do they all, I might just put them over here. I don't know how it draws them. So here we go. 1, there's the machete. 2, 3, 4. Well, it's good the weakness came up because it'll get shuffled away. 5. Oh, vicious blow would be nice. 6. There we go. There's the 6 cards. There's the machete. So we will draw that card and shuffles the rest into the deck. So it would be nice to also have the vicious blow, but we can't have everything. But that's better than a kick in the pants. Shuffle that up. So we got the machete. That's great. The second thing then, that was our first action. Second action, no, fast play. So we're going to play improvisation here. Fast play, switch your role. So we're going to switch to Guardian. Switch your role. Until the end of the turn, reduce the resource cost of the next card you play of your role by 3. So we can bring out Machete for free. Of course, that was an action. But we also draw a card. So we get a card. Hypochondria. After you take one, okay. And unfortunately, we've only got 1 turn left. So what do we do with our final turn? I think we draw another card. I know it's not good to draw on your final turn, but I think I need more cards, particularly fight cards. But we don't get that. We get the flashlight, but never mind. Okay, so there we go. That was our... I mean, I could have moved to Northside, I suppose, but at the moment, the main thing is I want to prepare for the Masked Hunter. He's coming out. He will be out next time. Once we've dealt with the Masked Hunter, then we can think about getting some more clues and things. But right now, I guess the other thing we could have done, I was just thinking is, no, we couldn't because we weren't in Survivor mode. Could we have changed Survivor mode and brought out the leather coat? No, we couldn't. We couldn't change roles again because we'd already changed roles. So there we go. Okay, so yeah, we could have done that actually. We could have changed roles, but anyway, I think we're fine at the moment. We should be okay. We might need the leather coat down the track or true grit, but right now we're okay. And we can use leather coat for the fight pip. We've got true grit, so I think that's all good. Okay, so that's the end of the investigation phase. We move into the enemy phase. There are no enemies to speak of. Well, there are the acolyte, but he's not doing anything. So we move into the upkeep phase. We get another resource, and we draw yet another card, and we draw into another lucky. Well, that's good, because we might need lucky. I'm just thinking with the machete, see the big cop is a passive, so you just get that, but with the machete you need to be in Guardian mode, don't you? You can't play, commit, or trigger abilities. Yes. Okay, so, alright, so that's the upkeep phase. Okay, so let's move into the, let's just flip these over. Okay, let's move into the Mythos phase. We will up to here. We are now in turn 7. So this flips to 0. Also, the Acolyte loses his doom. So that's gone. So this flips, and of course, it's the Masked Hunter. There we go. All right, so 462. He's got retaliate. Has he got retaliate? No, he doesn't have retaliate, but you can't discover or spend clues while the Masked Hunter is around. And of course, we also have every time we take 1 or more damage, we take horror as well, and it's direct horror. So there we go. That's the Mythos phase for us. Okie dokie. Let's move into the let's move into the investigation phase. Okay, this is where stuff gets tough, but I think we'll be okay. So we're in Guardian mode, and we want to be in Guardian mode at the moment. So we are a 3-4. If we use the machete, we are a 5 attack versus 4. So we're a 5 versus 4. There are no doom on the table, so that means skulls are 0. We've got lucky in hand, but we will have to change rolls to do it. So that's going to leave us in a bit of a pickle. So we've got to do 6 damage, which means we've got to hit this guy 3 times, which is going to be tough. We can probably just about do it if we don't overcommit too much. Maybe. Yeah, so we are a 5 versus a 4. So let's commit the leather coat and make it a 6 versus a 4. So a -2 or better. This is our first action. Now I could make it a 7 versus 4, but I want to give myself a 6, 6 and a 5. That's what I'm doing here. So we are a 6 versus a 4, and we can use the machete because we're in Guardian mode. 6 versus a 4, -2 or better. Chaos Bag gives us hell to say. That's a great start. So we succeed. We don't want to switch rolls, so we do 2 points of damage to the Masked Hunter. Ow! There we go. Good start. Whew. Okay. All right, that's a good start. Let's do that again. So we will machete. I hate the way it does that. We will machete the Masked Hunter. I nearly called him the Ghoul Priest again. We will commit the knife this time. So that's giving us another 6. 3, 4, 5, 6 versus 4. -2 or better. Chaos Bag gives us a -2. So that is again another 2 points of damage. There we go. So far so good. Whew. Okay. Now comes the toughie, but we have lucky in hand. So this final one, we're going to hit him again. This time it's only a 5. So we're only a 5 versus a 4, which is a -1. We may need to switch rolls. Okay. So this is, I'm just literally looking at the rule book about the triggered ability player windows, because this is really critical here. So we've determined the skill of the test. So it's a strength skill. So we are saying we're going to fight with strength, which means we are a 5 versus a 4. We have a player window, and we can then commit cards to the skill test. We're not committing any cards to skill test. We have another player window, and what I'm going to do here is this is where I have to switch roles. So I've already committed cards and things, so I think. So we will do that, and we will switch over to Survivor in preparation. Now, I've read the rules about this. You can do that, so I'm pretty confident that you can do that. So once you've committed in Guardian, you can then switch roles into Survivor, so that we need to play lucky. So we need a -1 or better. Chaos Bag gives us a -1. We didn't have to do that anyway. Oh my goodness, that was really lucky without needing to be lucky. And we do another 2 points of damage to the Masked Hunter, and he is dead. Ah! So there we go, and the crowd goes wild. Wow, that was amazing. Incredible. Just have to get a drink of coffee now. I'm so overwhelmed by all that. Okay, so that was an incredibly successful round for Lola. She managed to machete the Masked Hunter 3 times successfully and do 6 points of damage and take him out. Wow. Okay, so in light of that, then what we can do now is head up to Northside, and I think we get a couple more clues, and we look to get out the next investigator. I think that's investigator cultist. So that was quite an achievement for Lola Hayes. Really good. I know we have hypochondria, so we need to think about that. But time is of the essence, and at the moment we're kind of okay. So I'm not feeling overly worried about that just at the moment. So let's move into the enemy phase. There are no enemies to speak of, so we move into upkeep. We get another resource. We can draw another card, and we draw into Unexpected Courage. Fantastic card to get. So there we go. So we will move into the Mythos phase. Hold on, before we do that, let's just flip these over. And we can change roles when it's our turn. We can move into Seeker mode again. So we'll shift up to here. We're now in turn 8. First doom is down, and what do we get? And we get the Ghoul Priest, who luckily spawns at the house. He doesn't spawn with us. Pretty sure that's right. Yeah, he does. He spawns at the house. Yeah, when the Ghoul Priest spawn him here. So he is a hunter, so he's going to start stalking us. So even though we have we've gotten rid of the Masked Hunter, the Ghoul Priest is upon us. We could take out the Ghoul Priest for another couple of victory points, I guess, which would be nice, but that's going to be quite tough. He's a 4 and a 5, so I mean, we could do it. I'm not going to worry about him at the moment. I'm just going to focus on getting more cultists out onto the table, but we are going to run into problems with the Ghoul Priest, but at least we don't have him and the Masked Hunter on us, so there we go. So we'll move into the investigation phase. I am going to switch to Seeker mode. So we've switched over. So we are now in Seeker mode. Let's pop up to let's pop up to Northside. Yeah, it's a victory point. It's a 3 shroud. It's 2 location. We can spend 5 resources here to gain 2 clues. We don't have those resources at the moment. So that was our first action, to move up to Northside. Our second action will be to investigate. Now it's a 3 shroud location, and we have a 4. With the magnifying glass, we are a 4. So we're going to investigate, but I'm going to make it a 5, 6. So that's a 6 versus a 3. That's right, isn't it? 3, 4, 5, 6 with deduction. Now, if we're successful, we'll get both clues. 6 versus 3. Chaos Bag gives us a -2. So we succeed, but we put 1 doom on the nearest cultist enemy. Now, they are equally here. So, well, we have a choice, but the Grim rule would say that the doom goes on to the priest, the Ghoul Priest, if I'm being fair, which, you know, I could put it on the Acolyte, but we'll put it on the Ghoul Priest. Okay, so that's accelerated things somewhat, but we get the 2 clues, and which means another victory point. Oh, and there goes the crowd going wild again. Fantastic. Doing really well, actually. We have now got 2, 3, 4, 5 victory points. Lola is really cooking with gas here. We get 2 clues. We'll drop them down here. That was our... So we have 1 action left. We're in Seeker mode. So I think we've got a couple of choices here. We could play the clues. We could move... I'm thinking we play the clues. I mean, we could get Devereaux, which means she's... we can't get rid of our hypochondria, so let's just play the clues and get our next cultist. Okay, let's shuffle them up. Next cultist is... we got Victoria Devereaux! No! Oh, boy. Okay. Oh, boy. Well, it was always going to be a risk, and there we go. So we got Victoria Devereaux, and we have hypochondria on us. Oh, dear. That was... Oh, well. That's the way that it goes. So, interesting round. We moved to Northside. We successfully investigated with deduction, and we got both of the clues. We got a victory point. Then we threw in those clues, and we got Victoria Devereaux. All right. That's the investigation phase. So we move into the enemy phase. We take a direct damage, which means we also take a direct horror. Yep. That's all right. We're okay at the moment. Actually, I might put the damage onto the big cop. Yeah, but we have to take the direct horror. We can't. Yeah. Okay. That's the enemy phase. Oh, no. Yeah, I know. You're all screaming at me. And the Ghoul Priest moves to Rivertown. He's coming. He is coming for us. Okay. Yep. All right. Let's move into the upkeep phase. 4 resources. Let's draw and see what we get. We get first aid, which we might need. We are still in seeker mode. Now we haven't changed. So before we flip over to the next phase, should we, I'm just thinking, because the choices are we could take another attack of opportunity, and then we could spend 5 resources and dispense with Victoria Devereaux. The other alternative is she is a 3 and we are a 5, so we could try and we would attack her twice. And yes, we would attack her twice and put her in the victory display. I think it's 6 of one and half dozen the other, because it's going to take 2 actions either way. But if we do the first one where we take a resource and then we spend it... No, actually, we do save an action. I feel like we shouldn't be taking any more damage than we really have to be honest. Because we might want to try and take on the Ghoul Priest. So I'm thinking the best thing to do is, before we move from upkeep, I am going to switch to Guardian mode. Did we switch? So what we did was we switched... Yeah, we switched in the... we already did switch, didn't we? Of course we did, because we switched to Seeker mode, so we can't switch now. Yeah. because we switched to seeker mode because we were in survivor mode for the lucky, and then what we did was we switched to seeker mode so that we could do the investigating and play the hunch. So that was in the investigation phase. So we've now got to wait until the next phase to move to the guardian phase. And we got the unexpected courage. So I actually feel like we should do that. I think rather than taking needless damage, because it's going to add up really quickly, I think we're better off. Yeah, we'll do that. All right, so that's the end of the upkeep phase. So we move into the mythos phase. So I am going to change over to well, we don't need to do it right now. We've got, it's a fast action. Okay, we're in turn 9. 2 doom. There are actually 3 doom down on the table. Let's see what the encounter deck has for us, and it has Hunting Shadow. You must either, oh no, spend a clue or take 2 damage. I've got to take the 2 damage, which means I take a horror. Oh boy, things are really going to need to use first aid. Things are really looking bad here. That's all right, we can do that, thank goodness. Okay, we really need to get rid of that hypochondria though. But the problem is it's just time. Time is makes it very difficult to do it. Okay, so that's the mythos phase. That was, yeah, wow, okay. All right, so we move into the investigation phase. I am going to switch over to, I mean, that just changes the thing. We need to be in guardian mode, which means we can't then switch into, so the problem with this is that we can't switch into survivor mode to use lucky unless we get a an elder sign or something. So here we are with Victoria Devereaux. We need to fight her. So first action, we'll see if we can not use unexpected courage, because we are a 3, 4, 5. We're a 5 versus a 3, so that's -2 or better. So first action we will fight -2 or better. Chaos Bag gives us, that's a success. So that's 2 points. However, another doom goes down on the Ghoul Priest. Oh boy, I think we're going to have to try and take out this Ghoul Priest because he is amassing. There's the dooms here now. That's another doom down on him. Oh boy, okay. Was he supposed to move? No, there's only been one. Okay, that's the first action. That means skulls are now -2. Second action, we will go again. So 3, 4, 5. 5 versus 3, -2 or better. Chaos Bag is a 0, and so that we go. It's Victoria Devereaux dealt with. And the crowd goes wild. There we go. There's the second one. Now again, we're left with one action. So we can't get rid of hypochondria. So what do we do with our final action? We're in guardian mode. We could either use first aid or we could use true grit. Which of the two? First aid, the problem with first aid is it's going to take actions. True grit, on the other hand, just absorbs more damage. So I might use true grit. I'll just stick it here. There we go. That was our final action. So now we can assign damage dealt there. So that's good. That's an extra damage soak. Whereas the problem with first aid is you've got to play it, and then you get to heal once every. It's very. I mean, the other way is to go to the Hostable and do it that way, but unfortunately, we've got the Ghoul Priest on our tail now. So there we go. Look, I think Lola's doing really well. So it's all rainbows and unicorns from here anyway. And so I know we're halfway through. So it's whether we make a decision to try. If we got Vicious Blow, I'd actually seriously think about actually taking on the Ghoul Priest, to be honest. That's definitely something we could think about doing. Okay, so we move into the enemy phase, and indeed, if it's the enemy phase, then the Ghoul Priest moves over to Miskatonic University. We really need to get out of here now, otherwise he'll be on us. Oops, so there we go. Okay, so we move into the upkeep phase. We get another resource. We draw a card. We draw into Perception. Okay, so let's move into the Mythos phase. So let's move up to here. We're in turn 10. There is now 5 Doom on the table. Okay, let's see what the good old encounter deck has for us. And it has an Obscuring Fog. Goes where there's most clues. I don't think there's any... here. So no, that's not a locked door. It goes here. Which is fine. That was a safe draw. There we go. Okay. All right, so we move into the investigation phase. Now, I'm just thinking here, if we moved on to the Ghoul Priest, that would be one action. He's a 4, isn't he? Yes, he's a 4, and we are a base 5. 5 versus 4. So we could successfully probably hit him with an Unexpected Courage. And we haven't used we can convert our rolls because we haven't used it this time. So that would give us a 7 versus 4. So we would likely hit him and do 2 points of damage. But he has a strength of 5. So then we would be down to hitting him for a 5 versus 4 with Lucky in place. So it is possible we could do it, but I feel it's really risky at the moment. Really risky. If only we had something like a Vicious Blow or some extra cards. And he's got Retaliate, so if we miss... Although we've got Lucky. So... But really, the problem is that the skulls are worth -2, so that really does stack the deck against us. So no, not at the moment. I think what we do is, first of all, we spend 2 actions to get rid of Hypochondria. I think that's the first thing. We can't afford to have that with us anymore. And then I think we move. We just move to downtown. Flip downtown. It's got a special ability, gain 3 resources once per game. Well, we don't really need that. It would be great to get someone like Herman Collins. So maybe we'll move to East Town and try and get the clues there, rather than taking on the Ghoul Priest. If we get the Vicious Blow, because the Vicious Blow would give us 3 points in one go, and then we just need to attack him again. So I think if we get something like that, I think we definitely give it a go. But otherwise, I think we play it safe. We got 1 action left. Oh, no, that was the move, wasn't it? So that was our final action. Okay, so that was a very safe play. We just basically got rid of our Hypochondria and moved. I am aware, though, that the Ghoul Priest, we might need to have a desperate attack on the Ghoul Priest because... we're going to end the scenario anyway. So we move into the enemy phase, and the Ghoul Priest, of course, moves up to Northside. Okay, there we go. So we move into upkeep. We get another resource. We draw a card, and we draw into Survival Instinct, which would give us a 4 evade. Oh, he's a 4 evade as well. And flip these over. Yeah. No, I don't see any reason to change at the moment. Yep, that's the end of the upkeep phase. So we move into the mythos phase. Oh boy. What are we up to? We are now in turn 11. There are 4 doom. Actually, there are 6 doom. There are 6 doom on the table, which means next time there will be 5, there will be 7, assuming no more doom appear. So we have to kind of deal with the ghoul priest, I think, one way or the other, because let's see what the encounter deck has for us, and the encounter deck has Wings of Darkness. Test 4. If you fail, take. Oh, we don't want to do that. So we're a 3. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to convert to Survivor. I'm a survivor. Okay, so we'll convert to Survivor. We will commit. Hello. We will commit that, so that gives us a 4 versus a 4. Do we use lucky or do we use unexpected courage? It's 4 on a 4. We better make it a 6 on a 4 because we can't afford to. 6 on a 4. 6 versus a 4. 6v4. Chaos Bag gives us a -4. 6 minus 4 is 2. 2 versus 4, no. So we need to spend 1. We need to play lucky to succeed. Wow. So, we had to do a lot there to avoid that. My goodness. Okay. But we did. All right, so let's move into the investigation phase. So here we are. This is really getting tough because because this will be 5-7 next time. So we've really got one go to do things. So what I might do is I might move to East Town as a first action. I can't remember what is in East Town. Reduce the cost of an asset you play by 2. So that was our first action. And then I think I'm just going to draw 2 cards because I need to try and draw into some fight cards. So I draw 2 cards. And I get an overpower. Okay, that's good. That's neutral. That's good. Okay, we lost our other one. So I think we're going to have to do a last stand here and try and take out the ghoul priest. If we succeed and survive, we'll have bought ourselves some more time. That's what we'll need to do. Okay, we will try and see how we go. All right, so we'll move into the enemy phase. The ghoul priest moves into downtown, so that's where we'll be fighting with him. We move into the upkeep phase. 3 actions. And let's draw a card. We draw into a machete. Well, that's another fight card, so that's good. And then we will move into the mythos phase. Let's shift up to here. So we're now in turn 12. 5 doom plus the 2. There's no other doom, is there? So there's 7 doom now. It's a do or die situation here. Let's see what the encounter deck has. Encounter deck has... Oh, no. Oh, boy. Okay. We've got to put the acolyte somewhere. Can't put him here. Can't put him here. We either put him in Rivertown. We're going to move to downtown, so let's put him back at Northside because we want to take him out, ideally. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's move into the investigation phase. Okay, this is do or die. I mean, we could resign here. We could go, nah, let's resign, but that feels like a bit wimpy, really. I mean, you know, let's see if we can take on this ghoul priest. I feel like we're okay. We can do it as long as we do okay. The problem is that we now have to convert to guardian, so we can't convert again. Guardian. Okay. All right. Let's move. I mean, we can always resign. If it's not going well, we can always resign, can't we? Of course. Just realized. Let's move into downtown again. Here we go with the ghoul priest. First action, fight. So we will fight with our machete. We will put in the overpower. So that gives us a 3, 4, 5, 7. 7 versus 4. Let's do a 7 versus a 4. Chaos bag gives us a -1, so we succeed. We succeed. We do 2 points of damage. So far, so good. And we get to draw a card. And we draw into a flashlight. Not what I wanted. Bugger. Okay, so let's do it again. We will fight again. So again, it's a 3, it's a 4, it's a 5, 6. That's the only one we can commit. So a 6 versus a 4, which is a -2 or better. And I've just realized. Oh, yes. Oh, I just realized I thought we can't do it. But we can do it. If this 6 versus 4 succeeds, we will do another 2 points of damage. However, the ghoul priest has 5 damage, but we can discard the beat cop and we can deal 1 damage to the enemy and we can kill him. So we can just do it. So it all comes down to this. If not, we're going to have to. Well, no, we'll have run out of time. All right, so 3, 4, 5, 6 versus 4, -2 or better. Chaos bag gives us a -1. Wow, we succeed. 4. Then we discard the beat cop. Discard the beat cop. We deal 1 damage to the ghoul priest. I can't believe it. And the ghoul priest dies. Ah! Brilliant. Wow. Fantastic. I hope I've done this right. Wow. That is so good. And the crowd goes absolutely wild. Incredible. Look at that. We've not even got enough space for everything on the victory display, which means we've still got 6 doom down, though. So, yes. Anyway, wow, that was incredible. I didn't think that would happen, but there we go. We managed to pull that off. So we move into the enemy phase. There are no enemies to speak of, so we move into upkeep, flip these over, take a resource, draw a card. Look what I found. Indeed. Okay. So we will move into the mythos phase. Shift up to the mythos phase here. We're in turn 13. There are 6 doom down. There are actually 7. This is literally, there is 1 go left, unless we waste time getting rid of the acolyte. I can't see how there's really much more time to do anything. Anyway, let's see what the encounter deck has. Encounter deck has another Wings of Darkness. Test 4. It's a 3 versus a 4. We fail, which means we take a horror. Oh, and a damage, and we go back to Rivertown, which sometimes is helpful and sometimes isn't. I know what we can do with our last go. Just realized. Yep. Okay. So that's the end of that go. Okay. So we move into the investigation phase. We are literally, this is last go. We're in turn 7. It's literally going to turn next time. Now, we could either resign at this point, or we could move into the graveyard and we could investigate in the graveyard and get another victory point, which in the Investigator Games is what it's all about. But then the midnight toll will bell. The midnight bells will toll. I think we just go ahead. But hold on, if we fail, we take 2 horror. No, can we do it? We can. Oh yeah. Ooh. Okay, let's try it. That's right. You can take 2 horror and move back. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So first action is we're going to move into the graveyard. Let's just go for it. So we move into the graveyard now. First of all, we've got to test 3, and if you fail, either take 2 horror or move to Rivertown. So we're going to test 3. We are a 3, but we can make that a 4, 5. We can make it a 5 versus a 3. Chaos Bag gives us... we succeed, but a doom goes down on the Acolyte, and who cares? It doesn't make any difference at this stage. So we succeed. So we are now in the graveyard. There are 2 clues in the graveyard and a victory display. So it's a 1, and we're going to change roles. Oh, we don't need to change roles. I've just realized the magnifying glass is passive. So we're a 4 versus a 1. So it's a -3 or better. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in perception. So that gives us a 7. Is that right? 3, 4, 6. 6 versus 1. -5 or better. Chaos Bag gives us a tablet, which is a -3. Yes, if you fail, I don't fail. So we succeed. And we get the clue. And we will do it again. This time we will throw in the flashlight. So that gives us a 3, 4, 5. 5 versus 1, -4 or better. -4. That's right, isn't it? 3, 4, 5. 5 -4. So we succeed again. We get the next clue. So that gives us 2 clues. And because of that, we grab the graveyard and we get another victory point. Crowd goes absolutely crazy. Oh my goodness, not even enough space in the victory display for everything. And that's the end of our turn. Wow, okay. So we move into the enemy phase. There are no enemies to speak of. We move into upkeep. We take another resource. We draw another card. We draw into an unexpected courage. And yes, indeed, we move into the mythos phase. And there we have it. The doom. There's too much doom on the table. There's 2 doom there. 7, 8. That's it. It's turn 14. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. We'll read this one out. And the 12 bells ring out across the town. Bong, bong. It's midnight. There's no time left to investigate the city. You must act based on the information you've collected from the cultist you found. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Turn 14. Look at this. Look at this victory display. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 victory points for Lola. Absolutely incredible. 4 cultists bagged at the time. 3 from this and the Ghoul Priest. Fantastic. What an amazing achievement. I just had no expectations that things would go as well as they have. I just hope to goodness that I haven't stuffed up in terms of the roles and things. It's really, really difficult to play Lola, but she did so well, which was great because she did so badly in the gathering. So I'm really pleased for her. I hope you enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed playing it. She really is quite a challenge, but things in this particular case worked out really well. Her fights especially went really, really well. So that was all good. So thank you very much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Now, next time in the Investigator Games, We will be moving from the Carcosa investigators to the next lot of investigators. So we will recall the Carcosa ones. And we will be into the Forgotten Age investigators. Here they all are. So we will be starting with Leo Anderson. Yes, Leo Anderson, the expedition leader and guardian, who is an ally specialist. We will be playing with him in the Midnight Masks, and we will see how he goes. But until then, thanks again. I'm Krabby Terror 8, and see you next time. Goodbye. Where is the beat cop in here? It's in here somewhere. Hello? I can't see him. There's the two machetes. Vicious blow. Why can't I see the big cop?